Hello, everybody, and welcome to Galactic Tabletop. I'm Galaxy Master Alex.
And I'm Neophyte John.
And today we're going to be talking about how to level up your character in the fantastic universe of Stars Without Number. Enjoy this deep dive into leveling up your character, starting off with how to gain experience points. So what is character advancement? Character advancement is when your character in particular gains enough experience or skills to advance them in leveling up. The way they do this is by a multitude of options. They can accomplish personal or major goals that you guys set as a table. They can be based off of each mission if the GM wants. There is even an option for, hey, you have to spend X amount of money so that you can level up. There is just no end to how you as a GM can decide that they're leveling up. It can even be story-based.
Yeah, and it's a lot different, I would say, than 5e or other similar tabletops. You know, there's so many different ways to level up, like you said, and leveling up, while important, it's a lot more flexible. You know, the power levels between level 1 and level 2, it's not as steep as some other tabletop games. You can have PCs that are a different range of levels even, play the same campaign and really have the same kind of impact.
They really can, especially with like how combat is based in this, how many skills you actually have as a PC. Those things can be vastly different because no one's going to be great at everything. Even a level 10 PC is probably only going to have like true mastery in one or two of their skill sets, where a level 3 or 4 character can be better at them in piloting if they didn't focus on piloting or healing.
Yeah, there's so many skill options and paths to go down. It's a really flexible and simple as well system.
Truly is. There's a lot that you can do as a player to make your character stand out, and being at different levels isn't really going to impact it. Yes, being higher level, you're going to have better and cooler things, but at the same time, the way this game works is it's really a big equalizer. A level 4 character can play in a level 7, 8, even 10 characters campaign, as long as you as the Galaxy Master are aware that they're level 4. It can be a lot of fun.
So as a Galaxy Master, what are the things you want your party and PCs to do to gain experience to work towards character advancement?
Well, I would say I really favor personal and table goals. I really love it when my party has each their own personal goal, and then I want them, or even I come up with the table goal. So, hey guys, here is the big thing that I want you to achieve. And your personal goals are going to be stepping stones to hopefully achieving that goal if I'm clever enough. And if I'm not, well, then they're still just your personal goals that you do get to achieve. When it comes to it, I think the table goal needs to be something big. And when they achieve that table goal, they should get a bounty of XP. It shouldn't feel like it's just here's 1 extra XP, here's 2. It should feel like, wow, we achieved something. And then personal goals, I would say, should probably be that 1 or 2 XP, because they are going to be, I want them to be much smaller. I want them to be manageable. I want my party, maybe that person can achieve their personal goal every 2 or 3 sessions, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, so you think about it, they can be tied together too. I mean, like a party goal could be something, hey, we want to get a better, faster, bigger spaceship, you know, and then if you're a pilot, your personal goal could be, well, I want to be an expert at piloting something much bigger, something much faster.
Yeah, and we can even go out and role play some scenarios where you get trained on that, and that could amount to, hey, you went and talked to a veteran starfighting pilot, and he gave you some tricks and tips on how to be a better pilot. And that might amount to an extra XP experience for you, because now you are learning from someone else. There are so many options that you can do As long as you, I mean, if you spend more than 10 seconds thinking about something, you most likely will come up with a way to connect everything.
Yes, I really like this system. How it's very similar to the milestone system in 5e, but it's putting numbers to that. It's putting experience to that. So it's really combining the best of both. So, it's not just experience points from killing things. It's not just being a murder hobo. It's by setting objectives, accomplishing them, and bonus points if you do something cool along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Now, that being said, if you have a party that is really into combat, you can definitely have certain methods of making those things more
Brought into
amount to
focus.
more. Yeah. So, like, let's say you guys have a rival mercenary faction against you. You might raid a base or two, or interfere with them achieving a goal, or maybe even swipe the contract from that enemy. That could be your goal. It could be, taking down this mercenary band that maybe has no morals that you don't like, or maybe they stole a contract from you, and now you guys are just on a revenge spree.
We're gonna out murder the murder hobos.
Yes, you're gonna out murder the murder hobos. That can be XP. Hey, you guys accomplished killing a lieutenant in this mercenary group, and that's gonna slow them down. Here's an extra couple of pieces of XP. Now, that is if you guys are willing to go through a bit of a meat grinder of a campaign. This game is very deadly towards combat unless you guys play heroic characters, which we will be getting into in a later episode. However, there is just whatever your table wants to do. You can set that up to be major and smaller steps of how to advance your character.
Yeah, and there's really basically unlimited options too. How you can tie your personal goals to there. Sometimes you got to get creative, but there's always an angle.
Yeah, maybe one of those mercenaries, raided your planet and burned down your farm and you lost everything you had or whatnot, and you guys are hunting down that mercenary. He might be just a lowly grunt or a sergeant who was leading a little group, but that could be something very meaningful to your party.
And then you can watch the numbers go up.
Now, the game itself recommends that you give 3 XP per successful game session. And I don't know what you want to consider a successful game session, but to me, that means they achieve the mission they set out to do, right? So if I give them a job, let's say they go to a bounty board and they need to hunt down some monsters or aliens that are attacking a village. They might get to that village and start their investigation. The session ends. They haven't achieved that yet, so I don't consider that a successful game session. I had a lot of fun, but they didn't succeed at the mission yet.
Yeah, they're still in the process of putting everything together to execute the plan they've devised.
Exactly. So then the next session, let's say they go do that. Boom, there's that 3 XP. I personally, as a Galaxy Master, really like to slow down this character advancement, because if you give 3 XP out per session, your characters are going to jump from level 1 to level 2 in the first session, and then jump from level 2 to level 3 in the second. That is a bit fast paced for what I would like. And I give them 1 XP per session that they show up. If they just show up, they get 1 XP. I don't care if they're late. I don't care if they're early. They get 1 XP per session they show up. They get a second XP for achieving personal goals, and that can be major because I want my table to participate and be more engaged. If they achieve a personal goal, here's an extra piece of XP. And then the third way I give them XP is when they do achieve the goal, when they go and succeed at that mission. And when they do that, I usually actually only give about 1 piece of XP extra. But they can gain 3 XP per session.
So, Galaxy Master and Stars Without Numbers, what are the actual benefits of leveling up?
Well, other than the dopamine hit that you get from it, there are several benefits. For starters, you get an additional hit die. Woo! So an additional hit die is always a D6 for your character. Warriors get an extra 2 hit points. If you have the die hard trait, you get an extra 2 hit points as well. But yeah, it's everyone gets the same amount of hit die. It's just 1d6, And then every time you level up, you get an additional d6. Now, here's where the game changes it from your standard role playing game. And this can be either frustrating, but if you look at the long term math of it, it actually makes a lot of sense. So, the way the leveling up system works in this, when you level up, you re-roll all your hit points. So, if you were level 1 and you rolled a really bad roll, you got a 1 on your hit die. Great news. You get to re-roll both your hit points. So you now at level 2, you roll 2d6, and that becomes your total hit points. Now, let's say you rolled really well your first time and you rolled a 6. That's awesome for you. Level 2, you're still re-rolling both those hit dice, and let's say you rolled less than 6. Let's say you rolled a 5 total. You still get more HP. You just take your lowest number, which was 6, and you add 1 HP to it.
The system's really like an upside based system. So, you have one good roll, you're kind of set for the next few levels, kind of.
Yeah, it really can be awesome like that. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I leveled up, I only get 1 extra HP. Once again, this game isn't meant for you to be invincible.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I mean, if you have a bad roll on level, then you only go up 1 hit point. But the next time you roll, you have a great roll. Well, then you're almost double dipping. You're going up way up.
Yeah, you have much more opportunity to have a better amount of HP in this game than you would in other games where it is forced to stick, because you get ample opportunity to have a better amount of health. Now, there's also the additional bonus of improved attack bonus. Now, this is for our non-warrior or partial warrior friends. When you level up, your attack bonus, this is just your base attack, so you get to add this attack to any attack roll you make, whether you're proficient or not. Your base attack bonus is half your level. So if you're level 1, your base attack bonus is 0. Level 2, your base attack bonus is 1. Level 3, 1 still, 4, 2. You round down. At level 10, you're going to have a base attack of 5. I know that doesn't seem a lot, but like if you're not a warrior, you're most likely not the one who's taking on all the combat. Plus, you still also get to add your other bonuses to those attack rolls.
When you're rolling the d20, I mean, armor class in this game is much lower than other tabletop games. It's right around 12 a lot of the time. So with that plus 5, I mean, you've only got to roll a 7 to hit.
Yeah, 12, 13. I usually don't throw my characters at enemies who have anything higher than a 14. If you are throwing characters or PCs, enemies that have ACs of 15 to 20, I feel like there should have been some real threat signaling there, and they should be well aware that what they're getting themselves into. Of course, if they just go and decide, hey, we're going to rob a bank on a relatively big world that has a high tech level like 4 or 5, yes, they should be facing people who have high body.
There's consequences to our actions?
There's consequences to your actions. But let's say they go to a world with a tech level 2, and they decide to rob whatever counts as a bank there. Don't put someone in power armor going, I'm going to stop you because you're bad guys. It should be, maybe 13, maybe 14. 14 at the most would be my recommendation for that. Just security guard armor.
And then with that approved attack bonus, you should be looking pretty good to deal some damage.
I mean, like, at least with that, you still have a 50% chance of hitting, at like level 3 or 4. So, yeah, attack bonuses are going to be a lot lower unless you are a warrior. But if you're a warrior, that is kind of your thing, right? You should be good at hitting people. And then one of the other benefits of leveling up is improved saving throws. Now, saving throws, once again, aren't like they are in other games like Dungeons and Dragons. Everyone has a saving throw that starts at 16. Then you minus your level from it. And then you minus the correct attribute from it. So if you are level 1 and you have 0, let's say zeros across the board, your base saving throw is going to be 15, which is what you have to make anytime someone makes you do a saving throw. Now, if you're level 5, your base saving throw is 11.
It's a lot easier.
A lot
I'm not
easier.
I'm not a math expert, but that's a lot easier.
It is. So it starts at 16 minus your level, and then minus your correct attribute. So each time you level up, it gets a little easier. And if you have good stats in those attributes as a +1 or even a +2 if you're really lucky, then you're going to be pretty good at level 5 with maybe a 9 in some of those saving throws, which is over a 50% chance of success. But once again, saving throws are extremely deadly. And as a Galaxy Master, it's not something you want to throw at your party very often. So some of you might be wondering, how many experience points do you have to acquire to be able to level up? And luckily, the game makes this very simple. Your experience points do not reset. So this is a total amount of experience that you need to gain. Level 1, you start off, of course, with 0. That's what you need to acquire. And then level 2, you need to hit 3 experience. Now you're level 2. Your experience does not reset. You're still at 3 experience. So level 3 requires you to have 6. So for level 3, you just need to gain an additional 3 experience points. Now, the total amount of experience points you need to hit to reach level 10 is 93 experience points, which is a total of 31 sessions if they gain 3 XP per session. Now, the game does recommend that you stop at level 10. However, it does give you parameters for going above level 10. And for each level above level 10, they just need to acquire an additional 24 experience points, which is 7 sessions. Now, as a Galaxy Master, I'm more than happy to have my players go above level 10, especially if they're still having fun with their characters and I can still provide them a challenge. That being said, some things I would put on hold are no more HP. I want them to stay at the same level of HP, because then at that level, past level 10, if they're getting more and more HP, they're eventually going to become something relatively invincible.
It makes sense. I mean, as a human character, I mean, you're not going to get any more sturdy. Just time goes on. There's only a limit of what can be achieved there.
Exactly. And I would also probably stop attack bonuses as well, because I still want my warrior to have his benefit of, hey, I'm level 10, I have a +10 to hit. I'm going to be hitting everything left and right. Now, if my characters get to level 20, that's not very fair to the warrior. You basically have taken away their entire class feature. So that's just something as a Galaxy Master I would want to put on hold, along with the saving throw benefits. So the things you would get is, I would say that you would get your XP. I mean your skill points. So your skill points are still going up. You're still getting 3 skill points every level, and that's great because now you can diverse yourself into a lot of different skills. And then if I were to allow more focuses, I would give you a focus still every 5 levels.
So I've leveled up and I've got these beautiful skill points to use. What do I do with them?
So every time you level up, once again, you get those 3 skill points. And you can either choose to save them or spend them. And you might ask, why would I ever save them? And that's because it gets more and more costly to level up your skills. Now, there are 2 things you need to know. First off, if you are a psychic, you must spend at least 1 of those skill points on a psychic skill per level. You can save that 1 skill point, but you have to spend it on a psychic skill. So that really only gives you two skill points to put into the more mundane skills. And that's the way the book puts it. They're called mundane skills.
Those psychics and their superiority complex.
We do have that, yes. So that is something you need to be aware of. Now, if you're an expert, instead of getting 3 skill points, you actually get 4. But one of those skill points that you get can only be spent on non combat, non psychic skills. So now that you have your skill points, here's where the fun begins. You get to spend them, and you get to spend them on skills that you want to have with very few restrictions, such as a psychic and an expert. Now, your skill level starts at nothing. And I know technically 0 is nothing, but that's not how this works. 0 is above nothing. So if you have nothing in the skill at all, not even a 0, you have to spend 1 skill point to make that into a 0. Pretty cheap, to be honest. Now, if you want to bring that skill up to level 1, it costs you 2 skill points. And there's actually a really easy way to remember this. The skill level that you are purchasing plus 1 point is what it costs. So a level 4 costs 5 skill points. A level 3 costs 4 skill points. It's an easier way for you to remember it than going into your book every single time you want to level up something.
I think this system really reflects a lot of real life situations. I mean, it's easier to learn something the first time, learn it at a basic level, but it requires thousands upon thousands of hours to really master it and become a truly the best in your craft.
Exactly. And this game even takes that into consideration with minimum character level. So there is a minimum character level that you have to reach before you can buy level 2 abilities, level 3 abilities, or even level 4 abilities. Now, that being said, level 0 and 1 abilities you can obtain at level 1. Level 2 abilities you have to reach level 3. Level 3 abilities you have to reach level 6. And level 4 abilities you have to reach level 9. That is to prevent a player from just saving up all their skill points and becoming super focused in on one thing. Now, the reason that they have minimum skill levels is because if you were to save all your skill points, you could essentially have a level 4 ability by level 4. So it does make sense that they do put minimum character levels on these.
I'm an expert, the best of the best pilot, but I have no other functioning skills at all.
Exactly. So it's not something that the book recommends that you do because you, first off, do you want a diverse character? And secondly, being an expert, the best of the best at level 4, because you are the best of the best by level 4, is a bit ridiculous compared to any other game.
Yeah, I mean, practically too. I mean, if you're good at, like, so good at something, you probably has some other skills too.
Exactly. Now that we've gone over how to purchase skills, there are other things you can spend your skill points on, such as psychic techniques. So if you are a psychic and you want more techniques than the free one you get when you level up a psychic ability, then you can purchase other techniques at the price of that technique level. So if you are a level 2 psychic in whatever psychic discipline you choose, you can pick another level 2 technique by spending 2 skill points on that, which is just fantastic because those techniques are absolutely insane, a lot of fun, and very flashy.
So if I'm skill level 2 in biopsionics, I could spend 2 of my skill points on, let's say, getting the major organ restoration technique.
Exactly. Now, don't forget, when you level up your psychic ability to level 2, you gain a free level 2 or level 1 technique. You can purchase any technique of the skill level you have or lower when you level it up. You cannot save that purchase for later. But yeah, you can have as many techniques as you can purchase. Or there's another way to gain techniques, but we'll get that into that in the psychic episode. That is one thing you can purchase with your skill points if you are a partial psychic or full psychic. The other thing you can use your skill points on are purchasing improved attributes. So if you want to improve your attributes, you can. However, it is relatively costly. The first time you boost any attribute, it costs you 1 skill point, and that will raise it up by 1. If you want to do it a second time, it costs you 2. And you can do this a total of 5 times. There is a minimum character level from 1 to 9 on it. So you are limited on how many times you can do this.
This really just seems like, oh, if I'm 1 away from getting that +1 bonus, this is what I would use my skill points for. Otherwise, it seems like you're just better off putting those skill points in the skills you want to use.
Yes, the game does reward skills more than it rewards attributes. And I think that's a phenomenal thing because in games like Dungeons and Dragons, you can have a +5 pretty early on if you rolled well enough and you put your feats, instead of getting feats, you put your attributes into that. And then if you have a +5 strength or +5 dex, your now stealth is +5, and then your proficiency at level 5 is what, 3? So, I mean, why is your natural ability worth more than your skill? Is my thing on that. This game rewards you putting work into your skill more than it does putting into your attributes.
I think that's just a really good theme for this game. When we talked about the experience points, it just rewards you for doing what you're trying to do. It rewards you for setting objectives for what you want to grow. It rewards you for executing those tasks.
Exactly. I can't agree more. And now that we've covered skill points, there is one additional thing you get for advancement, and that is choosing new foci. So if you remember, you get a couple or 1 free foci depending on your class you pick. At the beginning, at level 1, you get some focuses. At level 2, you gain another focus. At level 5, you gain another focus. 7 and 10, you also gain more focuses. So advancement does also help you with your ability to pick new focuses and really hone in on a skill that you want to really make shine.
Yeah, I think the other important thing too to note, taking it from, if you have a focus already, taking that from level 1 to level 2 to really unlock the full benefits of the foci.
Exactly. And the fun part about that is when you hit level 2, let's say you pick a new focus or foci that increases your ability. It basically gives you 3 skill points towards that, which is really cool. So let's say you're a pilot and you pick the specialist foci, which gives you then an additional skill point in whatever you want to be a specialist in. You just took that from level 1 to level 2, even though you aren't level 3 yet. It's one of the few workarounds the game actually gives you, but you can only do that at level 2. You can't do that at level 1. Level 1 strictly prohibits you from ever doing such a thing. So that focus that gives you an additional level in whatever skill you pick, it gives you 3 skill points towards it. So let's say 3 skill points isn't enough for it to be increased. You can save those skill points for later advancement, or if it's level 4, so you can't go any higher, you can take those 3 skill points and add them into a different skill of your choice. Well, I think that covers up how to advance your character, John.
GM, can you level me up? Can I get a level up, please? I'm begging.
Maybe next session. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys here. Thank you for listening. Please go ahead and give us a like or subscribe. It goes a long way to supporting this amazing hobby of tabletop RPG. Until next time, I'm Galaxy Master Alex.
And I'm Neophyte John.
And this has been Galactic Tabletop.